Hello and welcome to another episode of the Instant Impact Event Show. I am Cheryl Williams.
I'm CJ Williams. Thank you for being here.
Yes, we're glad to have you guys here for another jam-packed episode. We were taking
Jam-packed?
Yeah, it's like we condense it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like instead of drawing it out and having like, we talk about events. Make it impactful.
Yes. Make it
Cram
short.
as much as you can in there.
Yes.
Make sure you get what you. That's what we attempt to do in our show. Is your time is valuable. Our time is valuable. If we can get out what we need to say in 15 minutes, awesome. If it needs to be 20 or 25, great. Yep. But just to be talking about something, it's like get to the meat and potatoes.
Right.
And let's move on.
Let's go.
So take that when you're doing your events too. Like what people want the meat and potatoes, right?
You can tell stories.
Maybe you don't like
can
meat,
mix them in.
People want the sustenance, not the fluff. Maybe they want the sushi because I could go for some of that. So.
Not meat, sushi.
No, sushi, right?
Oh, okay.
Give me the sushi, right? Let's get down to the good goods, okay? So
good goods. When are we going to sushi?
Soon, because that sounded real good.
Yes.
Okay, so when you're having your event, you want to make sure that it's not filled with fluff. If you can talk about everything you need to talk about and make it a full one day, then do that. Don't make it just because everyone else is doing 2 days. Do you? Right?
They flew out here, so let's make it longer.
Right. It's like I know that if I can get what I need in one day from somebody, I'd rather fly in, get the information, and fly back out than feeling like, okay, I was there for 2 days, but really. Yeah. And I think it's because we're on the inside too. Like whenever we go to events, I'm like, okay, that could have been.
We had 10 networking sessions.
That could have been an afternoon, right? Or that could have been a good one day. They could have added a few other things in there. No need to make it two, right?
No, get another speaker at least.
Yeah, so let's or have something that's like.
Yeah, entertainment, something
that they're doing, not just
give back.
People didn't come. Meeting and mingling's great, but if that's what your whole event is about, condense
they could do
it
that
down,
at home.
Have one meet and mingle, and the rest
have
needs
drinks
to be,
with it, and that's it.
It needs to be content. It needs to be meat and potatoes, or as I like to say, sushi. It needs to bring the goods. Okay, so now that we got off on that, let's dive into today's topic, shall we?
So most people say, work harder, not what? No. Work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. It's a tongue twister.
No. Yes. Yeah. But we say, work smarter and harder.
And what was funny when we were talking about this topic today.
Yeah, I'm like, he's like, work smarter, not harder.
Wait, push that. So the reason that we say that is a lot of people are like, you're working hard. And okay, so then the term got coined, well, you need to work smarter, not harder.
Right,
and
correct.
while that has value in it, it's not the full equation, right? It leaves people hanging out to dry because they're like, well, I'm working smart, so that means I don't need to work hard. And to me, it's not an either or world, it's an and world.
And just dish it off to everybody else to do the certain things.
You need to do both. You need to work smart and you need to work hard.
That's okay. So you can get the result that you want.
Right. And that doesn't mean that you need to do everything. That's where the smart comes in, right?
Yeah.
You need to know what you do and do what you do best and focus on that. But you need to put some hard work in there, right?
Yes. And hire correctly for somebody else to take over one of those
the
systems
right
and one of those channels.
Right. And so we got off track a while back. We were going with the work smart, right? Like let's be a little smarter about this. Let's automate some things. Let's use technology to our advantage. Let's
worked out for a minute.
But it wasn't a long-term strategy, right? It wasn't getting us closer to where we wanted to go or excelling us in that direction. And that's when I came to the realization, like, it's not working smarter, not harder. It's working smarter and harder by utilizing the smarter ways. You're able to work harder and put more in and get more out, right?
Yes, because that's always the goal.
And exactly. So when we're bringing that back to events, so many people are just having their events like, oh my gosh, it's so much you have to do. Got another event coming up. I don't know what to do.
Yes.
All these things. It's because they're trying
especially when you're not used to it.
Yeah. They're trying to juggle all the balls, right? And so that's when you do need to work smarter and bring in, if you're the talent, if you're the speaker or the trainer, then be that, right? Do that position. If you're the AV
be
person,
in your lane.
Right? If you're the AV producer or technician, then do that. If you're the event planner or coordinator, then do that. If you're the coach or the consultant, do that, right? So, or if you're not any of those things and you're just overseeing, then you need to pick the right people to be in those positions. That's where the working smarter comes into play.
That's right. And get somebody to manage them.
Yeah. How can
so you don't have to micromanage.
Right. No one should be micromanaged. If you hired the right person, they know what they need to do. They might need a swift kick in the butt every once in a while to keep them going.
Right, and put them in the right direction. They were going the wrong way.
Paint the bigger vision that keeps them wanting to go for more, right? But what you're doing is you're by working smarter, just like when people come and they work with us, right?
Yes.
We put together their event blueprint, or we're sitting down and having implementation events with them, or we're talking through what it is. They're like, oh, it's not that. Dang it. That's all this is? It's like,
you have to break it down first.
It's like, it is, but you've got to know the formula.
Yes.
So that you are working smarter, but at the end of the day, you're not going to not work hard. You're going to work smarter and harder together so that you get that going, right?
And then know your end result.
Correct. So when we're putting together an event and your idea and your blueprint and getting that all together, that's the smart part of that. Now you're going to have to put some hard work behind that to actually initialize and go through and then bring it to fruition.
But that's been getting everyone in that right place.
Right.
Because it's really not hard. It's just getting you to use your mind and think about what you want to teach about. How many people you want at your event. Do you want to be close to home? Do you want to do it somewhere else?
And you don't need to be all things to all people, right?
No.
Your event should not be for the 8 billion people in the world. It should be for who it's for. So find who that is. And then also, a lot of times people are they're like, well, I like this and I like that and I want to speak on this. Figure out what you're speaking on.
Do your one thing at that one event.
And do it really, 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 really well, right?
So you know what you're talking about.
Drill down on that topic. What are you doing? What value are you bringing? How are you helping them? What is the impact that you're creating? What is the experience you want them to get from your event?
What are they going to get out of this?
And then when they leave, how do you want them to say the event? Like, what do you want them to go tell other people about your event, right?
And you're going to be reaching out to them after.
Yeah. And so when we're talking about working smarter and harder, it's about putting the right people in place. It's about getting the right systems, and using technology, all these different things. But it's also smarter in that you're bringing on people that are already down the path further than you are that can help you, whether that's a coach, whether that's a consultant, whether that's another speaker, whether that's someone who you don't know anything about AV, you hire that person. Whether you don't know anything about planning, you make those key hires, bring those people on so that they can do what they do best.
Right.
And then you are going to work hard in what you're doing. If you're the speaker, then you need to work on your speaking skills.
Time.
You need to work on your presentation. You need to work on your sales. You need to
work on your keynotes and PowerPoints.
And how do you present and what impact are you creating? And how can you work on building out the next event? Because that's another thing we talk with people about. It's like, well, I had this event. It's like, okay, if you're having events,
do your one and then have another on something else.
You should have a series of events. And that doesn't mean the events have to go in chronological order. No. You could have that, though. Here's like the beginner one and the intermediate and the advanced. But you could also have different topics. Like maybe they don't need this one before they have this one over here.
Yes.
It's not
different tiers.
They don't have to coincide. Like you've got to go to this one before you can go to this one. Maybe they're just two events that are in your industry or in your topic or in your lane. But they don't need one. There's not a prerequisite that you have to have one before the other.
And some people do that.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And so what is that for you? You have to look inside your industry. What are you good at? What is the point of you putting on an event, right?
There you go.
That a lot of people are like, well,
they
that's
can't
a thing
answer
to
that
do.
question.
I want to have an event. Well,
why?
I would rather you not have an event than put on a crappy event.
Yes.
Right?
And figure out why you're even there.
What's the purpose and the point of having this event?
Result.
Where's the transformation, right? Where are people going to be when they arrive, and what are they going to be, or who are they going to become, or what's the transformation that they're going to have when they leave, right? You're not getting them from A to Z at one event.
Nope.
You're just getting them from A to B, right? And then you can have another event that takes them from B to C.
There you go.
Right? So when we're talking about working smarter and harder, you need to figure out in your events How can you make those
Yes.
key hires? How can you make your event more impactful? How
That's right.
can you use and leverage other people or their talents or their skill
Yes.
sets? What do you do best? How can you focus on that? And then how can everyone work hard in the same direction for the same vision to get the outcome and the result that you're looking for?
Correct.
And at the end of the day, that should be the only reason you're putting on an event.
It is.
Unless it's a customer appreciation event or a charity
Something fun.
event, or, maybe once a year you have a Christmas event or a holiday event, or maybe you like a summer, like a 4th of July, or, some sort
Or
of
New
summer
Year's,
event.
yes.
There's different reasons for it. But even at those, there should be some sort of
the steps.
result or outcome. Is it that you want to give this away to all of your clients?
Yes.
Your attendees?
And are you giving away free advice? Are you training them? Are they learning anything from your events?
Right. And so at those more holiday events or just fun events or customer appreciation events, there should still be an end result of those too. It's that you
Yes.
want them to feel loved
Are you
and
gonna give an
cared
award?
for. And you can have awards
Award
banquets
shows,
too.
yes.
So there's always a purpose, even if it's a more fun,
Yes.
casual atmosphere. Do it upright, right? And have an end
Yeah,
result.
don't have a crappy one.
No, it's like if you're going to do
Stay
something,
home.
don't half-ass it. Go all the way or go
Yes.
home, right? It's not,
You want it extravagant as you can with your budget.
Yeah.
But do it up.
Yeah. And if that means, and again, we talk about budget a lot because people are like, well, I can't fill an arena. Okay, that's
don't.
fine.
You don't need to.
But how could you
Just
have,
because Joe over there did
Right.
it once.
How can you have a classy, impactful,
Sexy.
well put on event for 100 people, right? Like if we could get to that number, then we can figure out if you can do that for 100.
Yes, then you know
Then
the
we can
size.
go to 2.
Right.
Then we can go to 4. Then we can
Because you're going to have a
you can
kick-ass event
continue-
and more people are going to want to go the next time.
Right.
And you can promote it even more because you already did your first one.
And, if right now you're not at 100, then for 10. Like,
Yes,
whatever.
start small.
You got to start somewhere. You don't need to go from 0 to
Yeah,
to
even
100.
if it's 10, it could be a dinner
Right.
in a side room.
And the smaller the event, the more impactful. It really is. And the
Yes.
reason is because you're able to go over and have those one-on-one conversations.
Yes,
People are
and the time.
able to speak and feel heard.
Yes.
That they're not just
That's what
another
everyone
number.
needs. Everyone needs that.
Yeah.
Somebody to come up to them and talk to them individually.
Or, instead of having a huge event space, maybe you rent out a small ballroom or a small boardroom, or, you
Yes,
have
and
more of
give
like
attention to each person.
or maybe you have more of like a retreat event where it's more relaxed and it's not, tables and theater and classroom style.
Right.
It's more, around the pool. I mean, there's so many different
yes.
ways that you can do.
Yes.
But the notion that you can work smart and not hard
Yeah,
is a
that's-
fallacy. You need to work
You gotta
smart
put the energy.
and hard. It's not an either or, it's an and, right? You
Right.
need to do both. You need to work smarter and harder.
Not picking a date, not just picking a date and leaving it and have everybody else take care of everything and not knowing what's really going on or how close they are to event time.
Yeah. You want to
You got to check in.
You got to have those systems in place
Right.
too, and that's where the smarter comes in, or those checks and balances. Or another great way of doing it is have a weekly team meeting and with a status
Yes.
check and a status update. Okay,
Yes,
you're
not
in
about
charge.
everything.
No, you're in
Just about
charge of this.
upcoming event.
Last week you said you're working on those things. Where are we at with that? Okay,
Correct.
and what are you
Yes.
working on this week? Perfect. Do you
Yes.
need any help or assistance? You do? Okay, what do
Yep.
you need help with? Great.
Yep.
Next person. You said you were working on these things last week. Where are we at with
Right.
that? Oh, you didn't go. Did
Yes.
you do need something? Okay, so
And
it's
also those meetings will help going, do you have anything else we could add to that or take away?
Right.
So it's also for giving advice where I don't see where this is going to fit because that person has to speak up and say, this is not for this event, but maybe it can be for the next one because we're short of time and it's only one day, not 2 days, and so forth and so on.
right. So people want to be heard. People on your team want to be heard, and they want to feel like they are carrying the ball, and yet they can talk to you or your team, and that's where having those weekly meetings comes into play, right?
Yes,
That-
and not keeping them too long either.
No, it's
Just
not a
sitting
long,
there,
drawn out.
oh, we got to have another meeting. No, it's boom, 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 boom. Have coffee, have crumpets. Crumpets or crimpets?
They're
Crumpets, donuts, whatever. So everybody can look forward to the meeting because you're about to take care of What? Or
Donuts?
donuts. Yeah, come on. Okay, croissants. For me, what do I like?
Let's have like fruit
Yes.
and some sort of protein source. Something that...
Pull out the app for the...
We're not just...
For your macros,
We're not
okay.
just tracking like crap in the day. We
See,
want them...
she's counting.
We want them to
see what happens
get
when you're counting those
moving.
macros in the app?
No, we want to get people moving, not groggy after the event.
Okay.
Now, if you want to have a donut
Fruit salad,
along
okay.
with the fruit, then
Fruit salad, coffee,
maybe
tea.
some yogurt, so you get some protein, something.
Protein.
We got to get the team going.
We just had protein and we just
just
had
had
yogurt
yogurt.
and
It was good.
blueberries. So,
Okay. So again, you do you, whatever you want to
don't
have
draw it out.
for that, but keep your meeting short and concise. Have it
Yes.
something that everyone looks forward to instead of everyone
Yeah.
dreads, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone, that's their chance to be heard. The other caveat to that is
not ready to jump on their case because something's not done yet.
No, and if they need to pull
Because
the
it takes
fire
time.
alarm,
It takes time to do certain things.
it does. And if they need to pull the fire alarm because they need help before the next meeting,
what the meeting's for.
Maybe your meeting is on Monday. They don't wait till the next meeting. If they need help on Wednesday, they pull the fire alarm. Then it's like, okay, I need help with this. We're not.
Yes.
We don't wait around for the next meeting to
not
get
for an event.
to get going for
No.
anything, right?
No.
On your team, if anyone is stuck, right, in
Yes.
an indecision, that means they're not moving forward, right? So just like a confused mind never buys. Well, people who have questions
Yes.
don't continue moving forward because they're like, well,
No,
I got to
they-
solve for X over
Yeah,
here.
they halt.
So they stop. So that means if their challenge arose on Wednesday and your next meeting is not until Monday, that means they
Yeah.
have the rest of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and into
For it to be
Monday
worked on.
that it's not being taken care of. So you always can call an audible, or they can reach out to somebody, or
Right.
who is that person for them, and then get them
and
the
it wouldn't
answer.
get everybody involved. They would just speak to the person in charge,
Right.
the manager. You don't have to
Or
let
whomever that
everybody
is.
know, hey, I have a challenge. No.
Unless it involves somebody else that they need
Yes.
some sort of help with. But it was just, if it's something that can just be answered, and a lot of times it's not a big deal, right? You handle it, you answer, and then they can keep moving
Right.
forward. But you want to make that environment on your team that people know that they don't wait for the meeting to solve the challenge.
No.
If there's a challenge arises,
No.
we solve it before the next meeting. We solve it right away so that they can keep moving forward in what they need to do.
Yes.
And these are all the
Yes.
ways, again, that you're working smarter and harder, right?
Yes, as a team.
We're not, because we're smart, we don't work. It's like, no,
Yeah.
we are smarter, therefore we're more effective
And getting more
when we're
done.
doing our hard work.
And getting more done and is going to have a kick-ass event.
Yeah. And so what are the takeaways that you can do? How can you, maybe you got on the notion too of, you're working smarter, not harder. You're kind of automating everything. It's all
Right.
cruising.
Wrong people in this spot, wrong
Everything's,
person in that spot.
hunky-dory and just going along to get along.
Yeah.
Versus how can you change that and work smarter, more effective, and harder at the same time, right? How can you
Yes.
bring that together and continue everyone down the same path of
I like that.
the new
Yes.
way? And maybe you do bring everyone in and say, okay, you know what? This working smarter part is great, but the lackadaisicalness because we
Right.
think we're so smart now that we're
Right.
actually not working hard.
You're
and you
behind
can-
the curve.
And you can normally see the metrics on that too. So bring everybody in, get on the same page. How are we working smarter and harder? How are we being more effective with our time
Correct.
so that we can work more in that
Together,
and,
yes.
and be more effective, but also still put in the hard work, right?
Yes.
Anyone who's telling you that you don't need to put in the hard work is lying to you. There's hard
are.
work, and you can choose your hard, right? That doesn't mean that every day has to just be a grind, and
No.
you still have to put in the work, right? You're not going to just set it and
Yep.
forget it
And
like
do
a
the-
lot of people talk
yes,
about.
and
Like,
do the
let's
hard
just-
things first.
yeah.
Make it even easier.
Worst things first, get the hard stuff out of the way
Yep.
first thing in the day, and then you can move on to the next. That way, if a challenge
Yes.
arises, you're able to take
You
care
have
of
the
it.
time to take care of it.
And so, how can you relate this concept back to your events, back to your business, back to your team, back to your life, right?
Right.
It's like working smarter and harder in conjunction with one
Yes.
another is a great recipe.
Yes, and a
versus
lot
just
of
working
things
hard.
can fall through the cracks also.
So, and we talk about all the time, it's about the details, right?
Right.
Every little detail at your event, before, during, and
Right.
after,
And they could be missed
matters.
so easy if you don't have your checks and balances.
And your checklist and your
Yep.
team meetings and making sure everyone's on the same page and going through all of those things. And so that's where the working smarter and harder, bringing everyone together, working more effectively, working more efficiently, yes. And yet you still got to put in the hard work to get there as well. Smarter and harder.
That's right.
So chuck the old notion that you're just going to work smarter and not harder. And we're here to tell you that you got to do both. It's not either or. It's an and. Be smart and work hard. It's a twofer for you there. That
twofer.
You got to do both. It's and that's the reality. Is we could sit here and say, oh, take this pill over here and your event will just magically appear. That's not being truthful to you. That's not helping you along the way. There are a lot of shortcuts. There are a lot of things that we can help you with. And
that's when those things fall through the cracks.
And yet, you've got to do the work. You've got to put the work in while you're working in the smart system.
And we will help you with that blueprint also.
Yeah. So, don't just let this go in one ear and out the other, right? No. Take some time. And that's what we talk about on every episode every show that we do. It's like, we don't want to just be another podcast or another show or something that you just listen to. Move on to the next. Take a moment and digest and then figure out, what are the key takeaways that you can grab from this show today and then put them into use, right?
Right. So
listening
if you are an event
enough.
company, you're an event company doing events, what can you do better? Are you having meetings per week? Are you getting close to an event? And a lot of check boxes are empty. A lot of boxes are unchecked. You got to get it together and bring everybody together to figure out what challenges everyone's having and how can you help one another.
And at the end of the day, your event is a reflection of you. It's a reflection of your team. It's a reflection. So, you might have a great widget, a great service, a great product, a great something. But if at your event, it's hodgepodge or willy-nilly or it's just kind of going through the motions, that's a reflection on you and your company and your brand as well.
There you go.
So think about all of these things. And whenever your next event is, start working now smarter, right? Putting some systems and things in place, but then churn it out and work hard at the same time so that you can create that event experience that we're always talking about.
Yes, and do that early. Do it ahead of time, not right before an event.
Do it early and do it often and just continually go. And that way, you're building that momentum. You're continually doing your best. You're striving for more. Everyone's on the same page. You're working, you're moving, you're working smarter and you're working harder. And it's all coming, and you're starting to see results. And that's the whole point of this, is not just to keep going through the motions. You want to get the result.
That's right. And you want to get your attendees the results.
And that should be the key takeaway today is by working smarter and harder, you should be getting a better result than just working smarter and not harder at the same time.
Correct.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much
for... Like us and share.
Yeah. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Make sure you subscribe, comment, like, share. If this episode resonated with you, we appreciate you getting the word out about our show and the different platforms. Pretty much we're available everywhere. So check us out. And until next time, have an awesome day, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.